Live life so that you create good vibes. The good vibes. Live life so that you radiate good vibes. The good vibes. Live life so that you generate good vibes. The good vibes. Live life so as to emanate good vibes. The good vibes. Spread the message of your life with good vibes. With good vibes. With good vibes. Welcome to the Good Vibes podcast. Hey my friends, and welcome to this episode of the Good Vibes. I'm super excited that you are over here. Today we will continue on our journey of evolved learning. Evolved learning is when we learn from all the people in our lives and otherwise, all the things and experiences that we encounter. In general, we learn from life. So get pumped up now to feel alive with the Good Vibes. This is the Good Vibes podcast, and I'm your host, Tushar Anand Madhu. Welcome, everybody. We're learning to appreciate others on this podcast and during this time. We are interacting with so many people around us and on the net. We are interacting with people in classes, in our general surroundings. We're interacting with different creatures. Some of them are not humans. And within all this interaction, so many things go wrong. So many things do not happen the way we want. So many things we do not anticipate. And the best way to approach such interactions is to appreciate others, because in it is the learning of appreciating ourselves. The whole foundation of appreciating people and even ourselves is to know and acknowledge the fact that we are flawed innately and inherently. We've made some terrible mistakes. And we all have parts of us which we don't like at all. Hate would be the right word. We hate some parts of ourselves. And if we know this, we have a strong foundation to love ourselves, to be kind to ourselves, to forgive ourselves, and to do good things. If we know this. And the same is true for appreciating others. When we come across another person, we need to just realize that their behaviors and actions are a mix of good and bad, like us. And at some points of their life, they're acting out from a place of good. Some points of life, they have lost perspective and perhaps are not acting out of a place of good. In such cases, it's our job to extract the gems from the uncut diamond. It's like you're getting a piece of mud. Inside it there are gemstones, but you have to kind of hammer it out. You have to kind of chisel a little. You have to break the mud or wash the lump that you have got, and finally you have the gem. And the gems are values. The gems are good thoughts. The gems are good actions, and we cannot disregard such things in people, because a person is comprised of everything, right? You cannot disregard a person just because someone is bad to you, because that person inside that mold also has something good within himself. or herself and is acting out from a place of good and at some part. And thus, we must give them that slack and learn to see and to dust and to actually bring out what is good. Two examples are when I recently posted a comment and suggestion on a drumming website, and I was speaking about my drumming process, and I was speaking about a frustrating event, and at the same time I was speaking about a frustrating event, and at the same time I told them how I approached that event and how I played the drums according to that, and I correlated actually the event and the drums and how my drum technique came out at the end of it. And there was a person who appreciated my technique, and he brought to focus the fact that there was something good in the entire episode. And whereas my focus was primarily on the event which I was not too happy about, he brought my focus to something more worthwhile or noteworthy. And that is the magic of people's perspectives. And if you are able to give that gift to people, bringing them to perspective of what they are good at, you're doing a gift to, you're bringing not just them a gift, you're bringing all the people who interact with them a gift. Because if they have that in mind, they walk with clarity and a sense of purpose, and they interact with others with meaning and love. And you have impacted more than a person. You've impacted so many people. And what you give comes back to you. So it's leading the good life. I'm reaching episode 50 soon. That is in 9 episodes. And I want to take these few episodes and appreciate people. So we'll be on this journey of appreciating 3 people each podcast, and feel what it is like to really know somebody. And you may feel that this whole podcast is about knowing about somebody who you don't know personally. Maybe. But I want to bring to your mind, or I want to bring to your knowledge about such people in our daily lives. And I've spoken about this in some of my previous podcasts. The people in our lives who walk around us, who are all around us, who are speaking, who have lived a journey, who have experienced hurt, pain, sorrow, remorse, who have also experienced the joy of life, the joys of life, the fun, and the various activities that life encompasses, and are who they are right now. And there's so much to learn from them. And just learning to appreciate what they bring and the value that they provide to the people around them helps not only us appreciate ourselves, because we find new ways, perhaps 1 or 2 values we can see that they are doing, and introspect and see, okay, we too are doing that. And it's always more difficult to do it for ourselves. That's why the activity of appreciating others comes to use, because it's difficult to keep appreciating ourselves always. However, when you're able to do it through a channel of appreciating somebody else, you indirectly appreciate yourself. And I think this is a good way to reach episode 50, because this journey of the journey of this podcast has not been just mine. It's been the result of a lot of well-wishers and unsung heroes. Like, there are a lot of unsung heroes and the people I shall speak about will be just one of the few of them. And I just want you to know, if I know you and you have helped me, I am deeply grateful for that. And I hold you in very high regard. If I've ever met you, or even if you're listening to this podcast and you're making this happen. This is a team effort, and we are all leading the good vibes. And so we shall begin with the first name today. And the first name is Parthik Choudhury. Parthik is a friend of mine since last year. We met in a conference in August 2019. And we were both heading committees in the conference. He was the leader of a discussion forum, and I was chairing, or I was heading a committee of reporters. I was kind of guiding them into reporting and broadcasting. And I had read his description in the conference page, and what I got to know from him was that he was trained by prolific people, and he's represented India in world forums. He's represented India in world forums, and he's won conferences by speaking. He's a prolific speaker, very good researcher, and a very good intellect. He's a very smart person. And I was looking forward to meet him in the conference. And lo and behold, I got this opportunity to sit beside him and interact with him. And the conference hadn't begun yet, so I had half an hour with him. And I spent 25 minutes just listening, maybe even 27 minutes, just listening and hearing and knowing and getting as much as I could. Like, his journey was so adventurous, and we could relate at army level, because both of our dads are from the forces, and there was so much in common. And I met him during the event so many times, and he had a coat pin collection, and I mean, there were too many things which were common, and we were both in a zone of just being fascinated. We were just fascinated. And according to me, I don't think I spoke about myself too much. I did let him know I did podcasts. I told him about my newspaper briefly, but he was very friendly to me, and we became very good friends. And I think that's the best quality about him. He's very humble. And when you are able to become friends with people who have done a lot, he probably still wouldn't agree it's too much of an achievement to represent India in Berlin and win amongst some 92 countries. And he wouldn't think too much of himself for doing such things. Whereas such things are achievements in the eyes of a lot of people. And knowing the fact that I went for one conference And I know how difficult it is to research and to be prepared and to deliver and be at your best and put in points. And I know what it takes to be someone like that. Or I have an insight into what it would perhaps take. And not disregarding the fact, he wouldn't disregard it, but he's maintained a sense of humbleness and composure within himself. And that's a really, really good quality. It's something that draws people to you, and it's something that one should have, because no matter what you have done, if you're not approachable, you prevent yourself from having genuine connections and relations with people. And at the end of the day, you don't have anybody to celebrate with. And the fact is, you don't even celebrate achievements. You celebrate you celebrate smaller things than your bigger achievements. Your bigger achievements finally end up being for you. And in that moment, when it's hard and when you go through it, that's when you're actually celebrating. What you celebrate with people is just cherishing life. And if you keep a humble and composed composure, have a nice perspective about yourself, you're open to friendships. And it's really fun to enjoy friendships with adventurous people, with people who have done different and new things. And it's a pleasure to interact with such people. Apart from that, we are having a fantastic time nowadays. He is we both are partnering up. He's helping me with my mission. He's helping me with this mission which has come to me, and he's made it his own in some way, and I cannot thank him enough for this, because really it's as if the effort it takes he puts in the effort it takes to reach out to 100 people, and he makes life so much easier for me. And he is being very generous and understanding and compassionate and very supportive. And even though everything is a solo journey, having a comrade and a companion like him really makes the journey worth it, the life worth the living, or the mission worth the stakes, whatever you may say. And I would like the community to thank him, because he is at his level reaching out to people and is reaching out to them well. He is taking care of people, and he is making sure that everyone is in a good space. And at such a time, we need more people like him. So we owe it to him. He is one of the unsung heroes, like many of you all. And that was Parthik Choudhury. Of course, we can go on speaking about it, and I'd love to say more. Like we're having a lot of fun, but I'll move on to Shaheen Sujja. Shaheen Sujja was my German teacher in my previous level, and she was one of the two teachers, the second being Ashwini Rao, who I'll speak about after this. But Shaheen Sujja ma'am was one of the most pleasant teachers I have encountered, and one of the teachers that I wanted to be a student to. uh, many times before, like for the last few months, last couple of months, every teacher that I have been with, I felt like either resisting them or not listening to them entirely, uh, or kind of like I'm a good student otherwise, but you can say finding my way around things or kind of being dubious about things. And I think she recognized that and she allowed it. And that comforted me in some way. Or she had this vague sense of me being a little on the off side, like not doing things straight, not doing things normally. And she was okay with it and she welcomed it. And when you have somebody who welcomes you and your personality and accepts you as you are, you feel drawn to such teachers, you feel drawn to such people. And that's the value that she brought out, acceptance. And also appreciating it. She not just accepted it. So I think the levels are, one is you don't accept anything. The second is you tolerate something. The third is you accept something. And the fourth is you appreciate something. So she could appreciate the fact that I wanted to do things differently. And that's why I felt like doing things the right way too. And she was very supportive during the entire journey of the German class, which turned online midway because of the outbreak of corona. But it was a fantastic journey, a very difficult one at some points because the net connectivity would suddenly go and come. But she ensured that all her students understood the concepts online, and she ensured that she put her 100% while she was with us. Even though it was difficult because it wasn't live feedback, we were typing and she was speaking. And it was her first time doing such a thing, but she pulled it off fantastically. And she's continuing on her path of teaching. So there we applaud her for her efforts and we hope she continues. Also, she supports this mission thoroughly. And I've sent her podcasts to listen to, and in her busy schedule, she'd take out half an hour sometime, listen to the podcast, get back to me and tell me it was really nice. It was really uplifting, and she'd thank me a lot. And this is the same with all of you who are taking out time to be in a good headspace and serve the people around you. So thank you. Thank you, ma'am. And now I'm moving on to Ashwini Rao. Ashwini Rao, for those who don't know, she's also my aunt. And our relationship has suddenly changed because now she's become my German teacher. Not now, but during the classes, she became my German teacher and then my aunt. No, actually, it was equal all the time. She was, when I was a small child, I was just fascinated by her because she was so full of energy. And none of my German classmates know this because we kept it a secret all throughout German class. And I think now that it's over, it doesn't matter. But she was such a excited person and she had enthusiasm for life. And that was something I was always awed about. And she was in the moment. I'm describing to you a person who I very closely observed as a small child. And the impression has stuck in my mind as a very fascinating person. Someone who has just like a joy for life, who is who wants to do something, who's looking forward to do something, who's enjoying the moment. Currently, she is pursuing German studies. She's finished all the 6 levels of German, and she's been translating German for around 18 to 20 years. And she was also my German teacher. And people ask me, was that fun or was that scary? I'd say that we pulled through it pretty well, actually. After classes, sometimes we would chat, and I would give feedback. I actually looked at it more as a partner in teaching, because I am very interested in teaching, and thus there were moments when I was a learner for her, and in those moments she really taught well, or you can say she applied herself and she cleared the concepts. She always used the best of her abilities, and she would push you to do more for improvement. She always focuses on improvement. So every time we would have a talk, she would say, how much are you improving? How well are you improving? She would never settle for where you are. And that was one of the qualities that struck me when I was learning with her, that there's a dedication and commitment to improvement, constant improvement. And that's something I will carry with me. Even though in German I do not move at the same pace, perhaps because she's done it for 18 years, but that's something that I have held to, and I want to improve in that manner in which she tells me to improve, to focus towards improvement. She's also somebody who loves Bollywood rom-coms, and that's a funny quirk about her. And we're actually helping her bring back her youth, because she is going through a time where she's learning a lot and teaching a lot and has less time for herself. And we all need to take a break to remind ourselves and each other that we're never too old to be young, and we always have time for ourselves. And happiness is found, is ever present, is ever flowing. We just have to kind of ride the wave. And if we had the ability to be happy in the past, we have the ability to be happy right now. So we've never lost the ability, or it's not a talent. It's just opening up ourselves to feeling happy, to feeling joyous, to feeling content with ourselves. And she's a hero for a lot of people, a lot of women, a lot of people struggling, and she's a representation of somebody who's striving, who's in the process of striving, I would say. Who's in the process of striving. And in such a process, age and gender and circumstances and so many things, they don't matter. She told me her number one message is always that she always feels blessed, no matter where she is and no matter what she's doing. And that's something I would like to share with you, that she feels blessed regardless of where she is and what she's doing. She has a wonderful family. She has a daughter, and her daughter is my first cousin sister, and she has a very nice family. And cheers to you, Ashwini Rao, and your family. The Good Vibes community is here for you. In the comments or in response, or the email address is the tusharshow@gmail.com. Reach out to me and give perhaps write feedback about what you liked about this podcast. What were the qualities that struck out to you? Could you relate with somebody? And why it is important to appreciate others. And I would love to respond back or speak about your response on this podcast, because this is your community. This is your community. I want to reiterate that this is our community. Our community. There are so many people with us. There's so many of us in this. And if you're wondering where you'll find Parthik Choudhury, Shaheen Sujja and Ashwini Rao, the answer is look around you. They're everywhere. They're in your house. They're in your colony. They're in your hospital. They're in your park. They're in your school. They're in your institute. They're in your office. Everyone has these qualities. Everyone is leading a life. And it's our job to appreciate the goodness in them, to let them know that we appreciate it, and to carry on like this. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. It was a pleasure recounting the values that these people portray and represent. I hope you could relate to these, and I hope you imbibe these. This is how I am going through the journey. I'll meet you again on the next podcast.
Hey my friends, did you enjoy this podcast? If you did, do rate, review and subscribe to it on iTunes or whichever app or application you are using. And if you feel someone in your life needs to hear this message, don't think twice about sharing it. Or if you feel this inspires you to record one of your own podcasts, go ahead and spread the good vibes. Spread the message of your life.